Hello, Jim Henderson here. I'm a volunteer genealogist with the Clan Henderson Society, and today I want to talk with you about Geni.com and uploading and citing documents there. The profile we're going to use for this is John Andrew Henderson, and he is an ancestor of David Henderson, who's our Y-DNA specialist. And we noticed from one of the sources about him that he signed his name as J. Andrew Henderson, and we can find out other things about him by looking at sources. You notice that there's a picture of a document here beside his name. When you hover over that, you see that there are 3 documents which give information about him, and I'd like to show you how to add another document. An easy way to do that is go to the tab called Sources, and when the Sources tab displays, you'll see those 3 documents there, and you see the information which each of those documents supports. I'm going to click Add Source, and that comes up with this dialog. This is a document from my computer because David sent it to me, so I'm going to click on Add a New Document, and I'm going to click on Choose File. This is the folder of the documents which David sent to me, and here is John Jr., John H., and J. Andrew. That's the one I want, so I'm going to select that and click Open, and then I'm going to click Upload Documents. You notice at this point, if this were a link to something on the web, I could click on this one and just post the link. And if I wanted to create a new document and type information into it, I would select that one. But here I've selected a file from my computer, and so I'm going to upload it. Once it's uploaded, we have the option to do 2 things. One is to edit the document, and we're really editing information about the document, or metadata, if you like to call it that, and we can cite the document to support different facts. So let's do edit first, and here I'm going to add something to its name. This doesn't change the name of the document on my computer, it just gives us a bit more information about the document. I'm going to call it a genealogy card. And you'll see why I do that in a minute. Let's come back now and look at the contents of that card itself. Let's go to Family Tree. I typed F to get there, and C for Clan Henderson, and this is in my Tinkling Spring info folder from David and from his great aunt's research, and J. Andrew is the one I want to open. It's a very good idea to have the document open while you're citing it and giving information about it. So we see that this was done by Rebecca H. Mitchell, and the date this document was prepared is 1983. So let's come back here and put in the date. You see that I have dates formatted year, month, day. This is because in some cultures of the world, the 30th of September, they would write like this, 9/30/2020. But in other parts of the world, they would write 30/9/2020. That's okay when it's the 30th of September, but what about if it's the 4th of May? Would you write 4/5, or would you write 5/4? To resolve that issue, I always say 2020 0504. Everyone in the world can understand that that is year, month, day. And so that is how I have set the preferences in Geni for my account. So I have forgotten already what that year was. Let's Alt-Tab back to that, 1983. Hold down the Alt key on a Windows machine or Command on a Mac, and tap the tab enough times to get where you want to go, and there you are. 1983. So I'll put that in. I won't choose an event. The events you could choose here are the birth or death of John Andrew, or his marriage perhaps. I won't put in a location. There are a number of locations mentioned in this document. But here's his name. What about his wife? Shall we put her in? Let's look at the document again. She was Mary Russell. So let's type in her name. Perhaps she's under Mary Henderson Russell, and we'll search for her. Mary Henderson born Russell, that looks right. We could put the children in there, but it's a bit tedious in this location to do that. We don't want all this stuff in the description file, so I'll delete all of that. And what I'll put in here is family history genealogy card, or family history data card. Prepared by, and what's the name that was back there in that document? We'll tab back to there, and it was Rebecca H. Mitchell. And I'll go save. That has set the metadata for the document. Now I'm going to cite the document. That means I'm going to list the bits of information that that document provides for us. There are a number of documents here, so it's a good idea to click on the one that we're citing. So you can see that the document we're citing is for J. Andrew H. genealogy card, and that's a family history data card prepared by Rebecca H. Mitchell. So that's really the document we're talking about. What person are we talking about? We're talking about John Andrew Henderson. So what information does this card give us? Let's have a look at the card again. It gives us his first name, initial, and his middle name and his last name. It gives us the date of birth and of his baptism, location of his baptism, the marriage. It gives us the date of that and the location, and it gives the date of his death and that location, and it gives his occupation. We'll tab back to there, so let's put those in. Click on the first one, that selects first name. Then the quick way is to hit the tab key to go to the next field, and spacebar to select that, tab, spacebar. For men, you can set the birth surname if the document shows who his father was, and for women this is much more important, because in quite a few periods of history, women did change their surname when they married. If the document gives information about his display name, or what he's also known as, you can check those ones. This document gives his date of birth, tab, space, and his place of birth, date of baptism, place of baptism. I guess it gives his last residence. Doesn't say anything about where or when he was buried, but it gives the date of his death and the place of his death. Doesn't tell us how he died or why. It does tell us that he has died. And I'm going to check gender, because I noticed that this document also mentions his wife. Now, Geni should have a place that you can check to say this document gives information about his marriage, but they don't. So what we do instead is we use the gender citation for that information. Tab again, and we can put his occupation. And it's a good idea to put a short note here of what kind of document this is. Is it a birth certificate, or is it a census record? What is it? This is a family history data card. And save. Now we can close that dialog, and we can close this dialog, and Geni will repaint the screen and show the profile with that information in. And you can see that this document provided us with lots of information about J. Andrew Henderson. You can see that the kind of information in this document it's a family history data card, and it's a good idea to put that there because the file name is often truncated in this field, and you don't see from this field what kind of information it is. You see from this field. Let's go back up now to the top part of his profile, and you can see when we hover over this document there are now 4 documents there, and the first one gives more information than any of the others. Anything about his death? Yes, there's now this document is cited there in relation to his death. Well, you might wonder why it's so important to cite these documents to demonstrate the facts about people. Let me show you something. This J. Andrew Henderson's father was Samuel Henderson. So I'm going to control click that and see if it'll open in a new tab for us. No, it's not. So I'll go to Actions and View Profile. And his father was No Name Henderson. Now there is another Samuel Henderson who married Jean Henderson, and he's descended from the Fordell line of Hendersons through Captain William Henderson, and people have itchy fingers wanting to join these two Samuels together, but they have different DNA attributed to them, and really they shouldn't be joined. How do we know that? Let's look at some of the information about them. This profile for this Samuel Henderson, does it have any sources giving information about him? You see there are no sources listed and nothing has been cited. No documents have been cited to support his existence. Let's come back to the tree, Control Shift Tab back to the tree, and he was said to be married to Jane Leaper, not to Jane Thompson, and he doesn't have a son, James Andrew. So this is why it's important to cite documents to prove facts about people. Otherwise it's just a murky, swirling, muddy confusion. Let me come back now to John Andrew Henderson, and I want to show you how we can also cite the same document for information about his wife. So let's open her profile, Mary Henderson, who was born Russell. What is the information about her? There is only the Daughters of the American Revolution cited for her, but we noticed when we looked at the family history card that she was also mentioned there. Let me bring that to the front again. Here's his wife's full maiden name, Mary Russell. What does this card tell us about her? She was born in 1740, and it tells us where she died. It doesn't tell us the date. So let's come back and let us add that source. Now we don't need to upload it again because it's already been uploaded. It is one of the documents which is linked to her profile. Remember when we were editing the metadata about the profile, we added her name to that. So there she is there. All we have to do is to click that document, the genealogy card, and say what it tells about her. It gives her first name, doesn't give any middle name. Her last name became Henderson, and she was born Russell. I'm going to Alt-Tab or Command-Tab on a Mac back to the document to remind myself what else it tells us. Date of birth and the place of her death. So let's add her date of birth and the place of her death. And the document does tell us that she and J. Andrew were married, and it tells us that she has died. And let's call it family history data card and save that and close this dialog. And here you can see the things that we added about her: first name, last name, birth, surname, date of birth, place of death, living status, and gender. And if we look back in the top part of her profile, you'll see there's a document here. There are two documents now about her name and date of birth, and there's one document about her birth, and the same document is listed as giving information about her death and burial. What about their children? Let's come back to John Andrews' profile here, and he is the father of these people. Let's open them up. Let's have a look in the document again and see which of the children are mentioned. So here we've got Andrew L, and Samuel and John and Joseph, Robert, Agnes, Flora and Thomas. So we can cite this document for information about each of those. Let's go to Andrew first. So I'll control click that, and it's loading up in this tab. I'll control tab across to that. And we don't see any documents cited about his main details. Let's open up the Sources tab, and there are no sources listed. Let's add a source, and again we don't need to upload that document again. What we need to do is to turn off this checkbox that says only profile documents. In other words, documents that are listed in connection with his profile. When we turn that off, we'll see the documents that have recently been added, and the most recent one is at the top. So I'm going to click that, and I'm going to look back at the document. I'm going to Alt Tab or Command Tab on a Mac, back to the document. Andrew L gives us his date of birth, date of marriage, and also information about the location and the date and location of his death. And it gives us the name of his wife. So that's the dates of birth, marriage and death and their locations. And it gives his name Andrew, tab, space, tab, and we'll put in birth surname this time because his father is mentioned in this document. We've got the date of birth and place of birth, no mention of baptisms or last residence or burial. There is the date of his death and the place of his death, and it doesn't tell you this information. He has died, so we'll check that, and his wife's name is mentioned there. And we'll come down here and we'll say family history data card for father or for parents. How about that? And save it. And we can close this dialog. Now you see that the document symbol appears here for information about him, and this is the document that we've just been citing, and it tells us about his birth, and it tells us about his death. And here is the document cited again, and it's the data card for his parents. Let's do the same for his wife. He was the husband of Agnes Nancy Keys. So let's do a control click on her name, and her profile opens up in a new tab. And are there any documents cited about her? No, there aren't. So let us go to the Sources tab and let us add that same document. Again, it's uploaded already, we don't need to upload it. All we do is need to widen the net for the documents. And where is the most recently uploaded document? There it is there, that one. Click on that. We're going to get her information. Let's Alt tab back and see what it says about her. It says she was Agnes Nancy Keys. That's all it says about her. So let's put that in. First name, tab, space, she married a Henderson, and she was born a Keys. And that's all the information about her, except that she was married to Andrew L. And this, let's put in here, family history data card for parents-in-law. And save. And close this dialog. And here we see the same document cited as supporting these facts: first name, middle name, last name, birth surname, and gender. If we want to look at this document now, if you want to see which people does it support, I just did an ordinary click so it opened in the same tab. And here's the image of the document again. You can view the original PDF if you want to, just by clicking that. And here we can see the people so far who are associated with this document. There's John Andrew and his wife Mary, and then their son Andrew and his wife Agnes. And it shows the number of facts that are supported by this document for each of them. And here's a long list of all of those facts spread out at the bottom. Let's go back again and back to her profile again. So that's how to upload documents and to edit them and to cite them, so that they are very useful in working out how reliable the information in the tree is. If you'd like more information about how to do things at Geni.com and also other genealogical research work, we have a training site that you can go to. Its name is cites.google.com/site/CHS.Gen.training. So that stands for the online website that Google provides for people to use. Sites, because there are lots of sites there, .google.com/site, and then the CHS.Gen.training stands for Clan Henderson Society Genealogy Training, CHS.Gen.training. Let me start a new window, Control N or Command N, and type that in, sites.google.com/site/ not my own personal one, but CHS.Gen.training, and there it is. And here's the home page for that. Within this you can search for anything you like. You might want to contact me, for example. And that should show you the contact me page, which is visible down here at the left margin and also there. And when you do that, up comes a form in which you can put in your name, your email address, phone number if you like, and you can put in your question or comment and I'll respond to you. If you want to find out more about how to use Geni, we have a Geni how-to pages across here. And there's an A to Z of help topics in Geni and various other topics that we've pulled together. And for more reference material for learning about family tree work and for research options, those are links that you can go to as well. So I'll leave you there and hope you found this presentation helpful, and you might like to let me know if you'd like videos on anything else, and we'll see what we can do. Bye for now.